everybody, it's Jennifer J. Welcome back to Moving Forward. I am on episode 110. I want to apologize for the delay in getting this up. I first got behind because of Memorial Day weekend, and I just lost track of time because of the 3-day weekend. And so then I backed everything up a day, I thought. But here it is Friday, and I'm just now recording because I just got busy and forgot. So I'm sorry. But we are going to talk about T.D. Jake's new book, Disruptive Thinking. So I don't know if you guys have read it. If you haven't, I really recommend it. But there's a lot of really good nuggets of truth in it. But there's something I really want to talk about today. He says in there that feelings come and go, but you can't get up in the morning and ask yourself, how do I feel? You have to get up in the morning and ask yourself, what do I have to do? Now that might sound simple, but think about it. We get up in the morning because we have a job, and we say it doesn't matter if I don't feel like going to work, I have to get up and go to work, right? Because we don't want to lose our job. But how many times do we get up, let's say on a day off work or on a Sunday, and we have to do something that appears optional, but it's not really optional? Let me give you an example. You get up Sunday morning to go to church, but you don't feel like going to church. You don't feel like getting out of bed. You don't feel like getting dressed. You don't feel like going and being around people, whatever. But is it really optional? I mean, everything's a choice, right? But God told us to do it. God said, forsake not the assembling of yourselves together. So whether it's church or whether it's life group or whatever it is where you're meeting with other Christians, you're supposed to do that, and you're supposed to do it regularly. In Bible times, they did it every day. They met together daily to have a meal and pray together and praise God. So, God's not asking us to do it every day, but He is asking us to do it regularly, and we need to do it often. So, that's just one example, but He's probably also told you to do some other things. So for me, an example is He told me to move to Arizona. So was that then optional? I mean, again, everything's a choice, but is it optional? If He's told me to do it, I need to do it. And so you can't rely on how you feel. That can't dictate how you operate. Feelings come and go, and you can't let it dictate how you operate. So you have to get up in the morning and say, what do I have to do? Time with God. You have to do it. God tells us to do it, and it's not optional. You need to be in the Word, period. And that doesn't mean one little Bible verse of fluff, or a lot of people go on the YouVersion app, which I do really like. I'm not dissing the YouVersion app. I like it and I recommend it. But they have the little 1-minute devotional on there, right? It gives you one Bible verse, it explains it, it has a prayer, and that's awesome, and I love it, but it can't be where you stop. It can be where you start if you're a brand new Christian, never been in the Word, but it can't be where you stop. If you've been a Christian for a little while, you need to be digging into the Word, not just being spoon-fed, right? So I call that being spoon-fed, which is great for brand new baby believers. They need to be spoon-fed. But if you're not a baby believer, then you need to start eating the meat. You need to start reading the Word for yourself, asking God what He's saying to you, and listening for Him to speak. So, challenging you that this week. But I don't know if you remember this. I don't know if you can see it. But I asked you guys a few weeks ago, could you sign it? If He asked you to do anything, anywhere, anytime, at any cost, could you sign it? We got these in our women's Bible study group one Sunday a few weeks ago, and I couldn't sign it right that minute. I saw a couple of people take out their pen and start signing it, and I was like, wow. They did that without even thinking. And I had to think about it, because anything, anywhere, anytime, at any cost could mean anything. And that could mean anything. And I was just like, I don't know. And so I really wrestled with it, you guys. I talked to God about it. And I know I've done a lot of scary stuff. Like I've moved to Arizona, right? I moved clear away from my family. Didn't know where I was going to live or what I was going to do or how I was going to operate. But that seemed okay. God, I knew clearly God told me to do it. And yeah, it's scary, but I can do it. But there's some other things, it could mean your health. It could mean going someplace even scarier than Arizona. Or anything, it could mean the loss of any number of things. And so I had to really struggle with it. And I'll be honest, there's one particular friendship that I'm dealing with right now that I've been trying to determine if God said you can't be friends with that person anymore, could I do it? Could I write that person out of my life? Could I say, we can't be friends? And that was hard. This person is sometimes an emotional drain on my system, which might be why God's maybe moving me away from that friendship. But they've also been a really good friend for a long time. And so I really was struggling with if God said that's, you just can't talk to that person anymore. Could I really do that? And I didn't know if I could, honestly. I mean, I'm just being real. It would seem like if he came down here and sat beside me and I could see him and he said, don't do that, I would go, okay, because I would know that's what he's telling me, right? But instead, it's me trying to hear from him. Is this what he's telling me? And me trying to discern that. And so then that makes it like, But when I know that it's him, of course, I would do whatever he said. But man, it's a hard thing to determine. So you'll be very pleased to know that I did in fact sign it today. So I determined that it didn't matter how much history I have with this friend or how much my family loves this friend or how much I love this friend. If that is something God says needs to be carved out of my life, then I will allow him to carve it out of my life. And I hope that he doesn't. I hope he just wants obedience. Because I'll tell you another example. When I was, it had to be in the early 2000s, maybe 2007 or 8, 9, something like that. We were looking for a vacation Bible school director at my church, and I did not want to be the vacation Bible school director. And I told God I did not want to be the vacation Bible school director. And God kept at me. And they kept announcing it every Sunday, and I kept saying, I don't want to do that, God. Finally, I gave in and I said, okay, if you really want me to do this, I will do this. And I went and told leadership that I would do it. I did not want to do it, you guys. I really, really did not want to do it. But I said that I would. And they said, we already found somebody. And I was just so thankful. And I was like, oh, like you didn't really want me to do it. You just wanted me to be willing to do it, because I need to be willing to be obedient in all things. So even when it's something I really don't want to do. And, I should have learned from that. I should have thought about that when I'm signing this, that yeah, no matter what he asks you to do, and even if you don't want to do it, but darn it, there's another time he told me I had this little iron, I think it was made out of iron anyway, steel something, flower cart. It was just a little thing that you put out in your front yard, and it had a little basket that you could put flowers, like a flower basket down in, and it was like a little wheelbarrow looking thing. And he told me one day to take that over and put it in a friend's front yard. This wasn't a friend, it was somebody I knew from church. We weren't necessarily friends, but we knew each other. And I thought that was the weirdest thing for him to ask me to do, and I didn't do it because I thought it was weird, and I thought, he's not really telling me to do that. But I, honest to goodness, to this day, think I made a mistake, and I think he did tell me to do that, and I didn't do it. And so I'm not sure what the repercussions for that were. But it's things like that. Like, I felt silly. Like, that's an easy task to do, right? It's not hard to put that in the car and take it to their front yard and put it in the front yard. But it felt silly. It also had been given to us by a friend, and so I thought, well, then my family's going to say, where'd that go? Like, what'd you do with that? And then it's going to feel weird to say, well, I went and put it in this person's front yard. I don't know. It was all really awkward to me. And because I felt awkward and uncomfortable, I didn't do it. And I know I'm not the only one, you guys. I know that there's been things that you didn't do that you maybe should have done or were told to do, whatever. And it's all part of the growing process as a Christian. But I was today years old, you guys, when I said anything, anywhere, anytime, at any cost. And I hope you'll pray for me. I have my spiritual armor on because I know that Satan is going to attack hard. He is not going to like this one bit. But I also know God is bigger. God is bigger, and he is going to handle it. So I'm not worried. But just remember, feelings come and go. You can't let it dictate how you operate. I felt awkward. I felt embarrassed. I felt unwilling, and I let that dictate how I operated. When really, I should have said, it doesn't matter how I feel about it. What matters is, what did I hear God say? End of story. So I hope that encourages you today. I know it was short and sweet, but also, if you don't have the book, Disruptive Thinking by T.D. Jakes, highly recommend it. Go get it today. You can get it on Kindle, you can get it on Amazon, you can get it on audiobooks, Audible, whatever way you best read a book or hear a book. He does read it himself, so it's awesome to listen to as well because he's the one reading it. But I recommend that to you. So I will make sure and get the next episode up on time and in time for Monday. Thanks for being patient with me. Love you guys. Bye-bye.